Census 2022 is well underway, but some South Africans are feeling left out. LGBTQI and COI activists say they don't see themselves represented in the options provided by Stats SA. But is it all too late to address any shortcomings? To help us unpack the line of questioning on the census form, Trevor Oosterwyk of Stats SA joins us live. Trevor, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. What are some of the objections that have been raised that have come to your attention?
Thank you very much, and good morning to the viewers. There are those two that you've mentioned, and we've met with a range of organizations. Let me deal with the gender question first. We acknowledge that in the questionnaire that we have only two, it's male or female. And we've engaged the community and said that it is a new thing, it's a difficult thing, and the questionnaire has already been done by the time that we started talking. That question in the round of consultations did not come up. And therefore, we've committed to have a meeting with them in late March so that, because we have a range of survey programs, we can begin to incorporate those and test the questions and see what works best. So there's an acknowledgement now on our side, and we are in the process of correcting that. On the race issue, there are 3 points I'd like to make. We've met with them with a range of Khoisan groupings, and we're saying that nobody is excluded from that. But from a scientific and demographic perspective, censuses must be comparable over time, and therefore the 4 national groups are retained in one form or the other, in the sense so that we can check. I often make the example that in Stats SA itself, we don't see in the senior management there's a lack of colored women, for example. And we would not know that if there's not an instrument that tests that. So for that reason, in South Africa and at this point in history, that is still relevant. Although a lot of people say that it's not used for any other purpose but to measure. But secondly, the census does not exclude anybody. It has the 4 options, and the census departure point is a question of self-identification. It gives you the opportunity to decide what you are. If you're not happy with any one of the 4, there's a other category, and you can determine what other maybe Griqua, maybe Khoisan, or whatever else you want to call it. So and that over time will give the census sufficient information to see how we should go forward in the next censuses to deal with these questions.
Trevor, you say that, for example, the LGBTQI plus question didn't come up during your round of consultations. Does that not mean then that you didn't consult widely enough if it didn't come up? And are those statistics not important for Stats SA after this census? And if you're saying it doesn't exclude anyone, why are there people feeling excluded?
On the race question, I certainly feel that it is an important debate that we should have, but it is not an exclusion. It is at the level of granular identity, which the census don't do yet, and we hope that we will be doing that. It's also not an exclusion in a sense. It's just that it lacks that granular detail for us to know that, and we agree that it's information that must be in the public domain for a better understanding of that community. And so, to your point about whether we've consulted broadly enough, perhaps one could say that, yes, in our consultation, this did not come out. It is a good argument to make that it wasn't broadly enough. We believe that it was at the time because it was no different than with other censuses. And so, perhaps with hindsight, we see that we could have and should have perhaps gone further.
Trevor, I understand you're saying that censuses need to be comparable over time. But is there no way to adjust for changes because society changes? So how is it that censuses can't evolve?
They do evolve. In that process of consultation in between censuses, there are broad consultations going, and people say they want this question, that question, they want this to be tested, that to be tested, and the census do evolve over time. It perhaps goes slower than and statisticians and demographers are notoriously conservative. It takes a longer time for that to find its full impact in a questionnaire. This questionnaire was already done when this question was raised so starkly in the society, and we are saying, fine, that is one that we must attend to. The question of race, as if the law changes and as the society grows and the information that we get, that will also change. It is a slow process, yes, I agree, but it does change.
So, Trevor, like you're saying, a slow process, how long to wait then before we see a more representative census?
Not just the census, let's not just focus on the census from that perspective, but from our range of social and housing surveys, the general household survey, unemployment and the others. These will now begin to be tested with these questions. The demographers will sit and they will find expression. So long before the new census come and we will have the community survey, this will certainly be reflected there.
Trevor, we really appreciate your time and thank you for being forthright with your answers. Trevor Oosterwyk with Stats SA.